Thank you for coming to the session. We will talk today about a new tool to the Magento family. It's a new product which goes sort of beyond the web store technology, and then hopefully a product which helps to solve more complex problems, which addresses problems within the supply chain in more detail, the Magento Commerce Order Management System. It is new to the Magento ecosystem in terms of products, but we were piloting the product over the last 3 years in Europe. So we built it up a couple of years ago, and we're piloting it with various merchants in Europe. My name is Philipp Barthold. I'm responsible for the development and the operation of this SaaS product within Magento. And we're now doing that, as I said, for the last couple of years. So let's talk about first sort of overall about commerce order management, or what an order management system is about. And the easiest explanation for that is to say that you have on one side orders from various channels, and on the other side inventory. So the order management system, very, very simply speaking, just simply connects orders from one side and routes it to the right inventory source. By doing that, it is sort of the source of truth when it comes down to your inventory and an order status. So if you take an order from a web, from a mobile, from a customer service center, or from a marketplaces, the order management system should be the solution which knows all the time where's the right inventory, what's the status of an order. So as much as it goes from left to right, so taking an order and sort of bringing it to a fulfillment network, into a retail store, into a dropship network, or another fulfillment center, it also works the other way around. Because what the order management does, it exposes the inventory to these various channels. And it can do that on a global level. It can say, all the inventory I have, I want to have it all available in this channel or another channel, or I basically want to just take a snapshot or a bit of my inventory and expose it to a specific channel, marketplaces, for example. It is a cloud-based product, so it's not an on-premise product as a Magento web store. It is modular, so you can use the various modules which are called out here, and I'll go into those ones in a little bit more detail over the course of this talk. The one thing maybe to call out in terms of our interpretation of order management is also that because managing orders is often tightly coupled with handling payments as well, sort of you need to capture payment once it's been shipped, something has been returned partially to a warehouse, you constantly interact with payment. So part of the offering of the Magento order management system is also a payment and fraud service. So it's an optional service which comes along, but to then say if I want to outsource sort of my entire payment handling, the number of different payment methods, reconciliation about payment methods, and also handling the fraud, so defining fraud rules, which kind of orders to accept, which one to decline, how to handle chargebacks. This entire liability of fraud is also one of the offerings of the SaaS platform, which can be outsourced and pushed to this product. So, in a nutshell, it is a new platform. So we started to build it in 2012. We started to build it. At that time, still part of eBay Enterprise. It's a PHP platform on the same stack build as Magento Digital. When we started to build it, and that was a lot of the heritage from eBay Enterprise. So we had a lot of expertise around order management systems because that's what GSI, the former GSI company, and then eBay Enterprise did at its core, and the products it built and supplied. So we were benefiting from that kind of knowledge. It shares a common, the admin tool, the admin UX is the same as Magento 2. It comes with an out-of-the-box connection into 1.14 and 2. It can also connect to any other front end, so it's front end agnostic, but obviously with Magento Digital it comes with a connector. And as I said, we announced the general availability earlier this year. On the NRF, we had a little bit the coming out of this product, but we are live today with 7 clients in 20 different markets. So let's go into the detail of the why order managements matter and why sort of this omnichannel comes up. And I don't want to overuse the word, which has been overused way too much in the past, but to say where is this coming from? Why are people talking about order management, and why is that somewhat new, or why is there some buzz around this? And it comes down to Omnichannel. And Omnichannel is also, in its core, not necessarily something new. My grandparents did Omnichannel. They did teleshopping, they had a catalog to order from, and they went into a store. So to sell via different channels is nothing new. Sort of the new bit is that you have to connect the channels. And that is today the challenge, that often individual channels work on individual infrastructure. And the order management system is one way to start to connecting those, specifically when it comes down to orders and inventory. So that then explains that if we look at that's a recent survey from the Boston Retail Partners around order management, that roughly half of the surveyed retailers said that within the next 2 years they will invest into an order management solution. And that is basically stopping thinking in too many silos within their own infrastructure. Or another way to look at the same numbers is that the market of order management is going to grow by 250% in the next 3 years. And that is again stopping to say I've got an e-commerce department and a retail store department and so on, but starting to bring these things together. And again, the order management system provides an infrastructure to do exactly that. If we then look into the Magento base, and it all starts to explain sort of why we started to go deeper into this and then decided to invest into this technology and build one out, is some of you actually may have answered this question in a survey from last year. What are sort of different features you expect to pay for? Which ones are valued within Magento? And there's advanced merchandising, but number 2 and number 3 in this list is sort of a multi-node inventory, so having multiple sources of your inventory, and then advanced order management functionality. So these advanced order management functionalities, to say what are these and what could that be, because every single client has slightly different use cases and wants to solve one kind of specific problem. One way to look at that is something published by a list published by Forrester to say what are the typical drivers for clients or for merchants to acquire an order management system. It's often around the store fulfillment. So the first reasons is buy online, being able to pick it up in the store. So leveraging basically the inventory you have in the store. So and that is one very strong. There are a number of use cases also and able to fulfill online orders from the store, that you basically start to leverage the inventory you have in a store. So by that, just simply reducing the out-of-stock situation if you just not use your warehouse inventory, but your entire global inventory. Then shipping to a store, so then we're now getting into this, okay, I want to drive traffic and want to have actually consumers in the store. Then we get into the various use cases to say, okay, now I want to have generate traffic in the store, and that is having something shipped to the store, have something returned in the store, or even then go into the functionality of taking new orders in the store. So then empowering the store itself to then say, okay, in a store now I'm not limited in a retail store to just sell what's in the shelf, but actually also have access to the global inventory. As I mentioned, this was sort of the driver for us to start to invest and build this, and obviously we weren't sort of sitting there for 3 years and 4 years and just built the product, but we were selective and picked a number of different clients and partners which we started to work with. So it is not sort of a PowerPoint kind of product, it's a product which is out there and used, and I wanted to take you through some of these, the use cases in a bit more detail. So these are sort of 7 live clients I mentioned, and I want to show what kind of different use cases we addressed with this. So the first one up here is Brown-Forman. That's the company behind Jack Daniels and a number of other liquors. So basically a multi-brand a brand manufacturer. So they have multiple brands, so they want to have one global platform for their various brands and want to use that across different markets. So we're using that in the UK, we're rolling out in Australia and Germany as we speak. Then we have Dyson, the vacuum cleaner company, live in 10 different countries and 4 different Currencies, also similar kind of concept. They have so many different fulfillment locations, lots of different warehouse for accessories versus the main machines. So just having that complexity captured in an order management system. Fraport, that's the owner and the operator behind actually 10 large airports. The biggest one is Frankfurt, third largest airport in Europe. And that's a pretty unique kind of a solution, because what it is to take the entire inventory, which is airside, so of all the stores, all the various duty-free stores, but not of one merchant, but of all the various brands, so from whatever, the liquor dealer to the electronic parts and so on, and taking this entire inventory and then expose that like in a mall kind of environment. The real complexity there is that it's not just from multiple sources, but that you then constantly need to aggregate this inventory onto for a new use case. So it's not just, okay, I've got 5 different retailers airside and I take the entire inventory, but there are different retailers in different terminals, and is it the international terminal or the local one? So basically every single time a customer goes to the checkout in the web store, there is a new kind of inventory information needs to be provided to the web store. Helly Hansen, typical brand manufacturer on the apparel side in North America, live in North America and Europe. That's going to be actually an M2 portation, so that's going to be the M2 launch for the order management system. Different, also same kind of scenario, different fulfillment locations, different customer service providers globally. Then we have iRobot and Luxottica, 2 clients which have a different front end. And that is a call out that, yes, of course, we are pre-integrated with the Magento web store, but if you use another channel or another kind of infrastructure, that's not sort of prohibitive to continue to work with the order management system. So in these 2 cases, the IBM web store or Demandware didn't fully fulfill the order management needs of those clients, and then it connects to the Magento order management system. The last one is a jeweler out of Spain, also live in various countries. Similar story to say they have a store network, but they also rapidly want to expand in new markets. They want to tap into new market, and then in a new country want to leverage the inventory they can use in the store. To the slide we had before in slightly more detail. So if we look at the 4 different modules, the 4 different core modules, and then sort of a little bit around this, sort of the analytics module and the payment and fraud services. So distributed order management is as immediately when you come and have a slightly more challenging order flow. So instead of, okay, I have something which I'm ready to sell and it's available and I can sell it and I've got one single fulfillment location, so I have one web store, one source of the inventory and I can sell it. That's when you do not need distributed order management. But it comes then in when you say, okay, I have different locations and I want to reduce the amount of splitting orders. I don't want to split orders. Or now I want to start to sell something which I don't have yet, but I know I will have in a couple of days. Pre-sales, back orders, or also subscriptions is another typical use case to say, okay, I want somebody to buy this, but every 30 days this user should get this package without being in the web store again. So any kind of more logic than the standard vanilla kind of use case. I have an order and I'm going to track this through. And then the order management keeps on track of all these various order statuses, and you can configure various actions with it. So from the simple things such as if the package is shipped or partially shipped or returned, I want to send this email or another email. Or if these things happen, I want to route it to a manual intervention queue and have customer service sort of do this or do that with an order. Various configurability of the actual order flow. Then we have the global inventory. We had a session earlier about this, where we went into more detail what it actually means to have a view of the global inventory. And when you think initially, it doesn't seem to be so complicated if you just say, okay, I have two warehouses and a store, and I have some infrastructure which tells me what kind of inventory I have in the store, well, fine, it's just adding a couple of SKUs and the numbers of it and exposing it. But it is in often significantly more complex, because you may not have the exact knowledge of your inventory. You may not know how much is a sort of, if you have a retail store and you're selling something in a retail store, do you really have real-time inventory, or do you want to build like safety stock around it? You don't want to sort of sell it out in a store. And then most importantly, the sourcing and the allocation logic. So when you then make the decision to say, okay, I want the order management system to decide and optimize from where to fulfill an order. So there may be optimization patterns such as I want to reduce shipping costs or minimize shipping costs by having as little split orders as possible. So if I have an order with 5 different items, I always try to find a source where I have all the 5 items and not just split it one way or the other. Another optimization logic may be that if it's end of season SKUs, I definitely want to route those to the stores first, because I want that the stores clear out all the out of season stuff, that I basically skip the step from returning things from the store to a more centralized warehouse. So this kind of sourcing and allocation logic and all the various rules, that's where most of the complexity is, and also most of the customization. Then omnichannel fulfillment, so that is anything which is related to in-store interfaces. So that may be the store associate which can log in the morning to sort of look at what kind of orders do I need to pick, who's going to come along and sort of pick it up, provides the interface to sort of take a return and book it back into the system, because once the store associate takes a return, the inventory is immediately again available in the channels which are configured to that. So the omnichannel module is anything related to the in-store application. And then, of course, customer service, because that is the ultimate source of truth when it comes down to the order status. Where is my order? I want something reshipped. It hasn't been arrived. I want to have not 2 but 3. Any kind of modification around that is also something which should attack and be inserted into the order management system. Payments and fraud, I mentioned, so what Magento is offering there, if desired, is a full liability shift of fraud orders. It's also a bit of the heritage from eBay Enterprise, which was a bit of part of their business to say, okay, if you want us to handle chargebacks and payments and want to skip all kind of liability in terms of fraud risk and configuration, then that can be offered on top. And then there is a lot of analytics built around it. So it's a separate module, but if it is really providing this global view of inventory and telling where are the various things and what are the SKUs which go and where is it sort of distributed within my network, then that data is also available in an analytical tool to the individual client. What you may see is here that on the left side and on the right side, on both sides, you find the store network. And that has a fairly simple reason, because the store network can be as well a source to take orders as much as fulfilling orders. And to explain that in slightly more detail, there's the retail associate platform. So that's a module of the order management system for 2 main use cases. So one is the store fulfillment. So to ship it from the store, to have people being able to buy online and pick it up. And this is an iOS application, a very straightforward kind of application which you can use for your in-store associates, where you can track their work. So how long is a certain order in a certain state? If you just route it to a store, can you make sure that people are actually going out and picking it from the shelf and packing it and having it shipped? So the entire sort of order flow in the store can be tracked and traced with those tools, and it's very intuitive. So it's has been voted as best in class by a number of analysts. From a UX perspective, it's a very simple, intuitive tool for a store associate to say, okay, this explains to me very easily what kind of items I need to sort of pick and pack and who's gonna pick it up. And the other one is the endless aisle, or save the sale, it's also called, that functionality, where it's the other way around. So where you say, in using the inventory you have in a store in order to avoid an out-of-stock situation in your web store, for example, because now I can leverage the entire inventory, that works the other way around. It's take the apparel case, somebody really likes that shirt, it is not available in size L, then a store associate can take that platform and again access the global inventory and say, well, I can ship it. It is actually available in the store down the road. I can have it shipped to this store. I can ship it to your home, whatever. So then initiating orders from the store. And it's the same interface and the same application. And those are the ones which are supported by the order management system. So for what kind of user group or what kind of clients can we say is that, who are we targeting? Because there are various solutions out there in the market, many of which are addressing the enterprise market. So if we look into the order volume, and if we were to use only the order volume as a measure, so who may need an order management system, that's not the best kind of attribute to split the market by. Simply because there are many retailers and e-tailers out there which have not a significantly complex supply chain. So if you have a single online channel and a single fulfillment center, and it's pretty straightforward, right? That's you sell what you have, and you have your one online store, you probably don't need an order management system. And even if you're in the 100, 200, 300 million plus in merchandise sales, it still doesn't need to touch you. And if we then go down the route of the supply chain complexity, then we can say, okay, we have complex orders. So I want to do pre-sales or subscriptions, what I mentioned. And then, yes, that may be not so the use case for the less than 1 million cases, merchants, but the more volume there is, the more interesting that feature may be. Payment and fraud concerns or complexities often related to stepping into new markets. I need to expand into a new market. I need to accept a new payment method. I don't know how to control fraud, and that's sort of the next complexity to address. Adding sales channels, make sure that we have a unified experience for the users, the same kind of prices everywhere, same kind of marketing campaigns running across the various channels. And then it gets to multiple fulfillment nodes, so then we start to say, do we want to add a drop shipper, or do I just have multiple warehouses, or I want to sort of then include the in-store inventory as well. And then last but not least, to really make your retail stores part of the overall experience and of your overall strategy, and start to combine the various channels. So if we look into how does a usual deployment work, and usual is a bit difficult because usual means 7 clients so far. So obviously when we build it out, we worked with 4 different partners in detail. So you saw it on the slides before. We worked closely with Vimo, AOE, and Rosetta and Lions, correct, thank you. So in the past and how it works today is if we look at this lead to live, right? So we need to create, it's a multi-tenant SaaS solution, so we need to create sort of the instance. Then we usually have a discovery session, and we design the solution, we configure and develop the integration, and then we have QA, and then at the end sort of a go to live. At the moment, sort of the actual creation of the account in the SaaS solution is something we are doing. And the rest of the steps, we are working very closely with the system integrators. And that helped us tremendously to learn sort of what are things a system integrator can start to build. And at this stage, it's predominantly around the various integration points of the order management system. So if the order management system needs to talk to a specific warehouse, a system integrator can build this. We don't need to build that ourselves. So if it's an integration into an ERP system, or starting to sort of take various inventory information into the system, sort of everything around the integration are various aspects in a project which can be today taken on with a system integrator. We are working on Magento U trainings and certifications, and that's all going to come over the next 12, 18 months. But right now, there is sort of a collaborative approach on the various projects. The future state or our idea is that we basically make it as configurable that really Magento itself, that we do not need to get involved into every single project. And that it's more sort of the agencies and system integrators, which today develop so much on the digital front end, that they can take on more of that work of these projects for the order management system as well. So, in summary, what to take away? It's a new platform, so it doesn't have a lot of legacy code. That's a good thing. It's from 2012. It's a multi-tenant SaaS solution built within PHP. It's proven, so whoever touches this now, you're not the first, and we have it connected to 1.14 and M2. But also agencies build connections, as we saw, to Demandware and WebSphere. So if you take another channel and want to drop orders and digest the information from an order management system, it's not rocket science. The functionality is really focused on the omnichannel inventory and the in-store use cases. So that is where at the moment a lot of our work goes into. And then the last bit is that it is sort of built to enable system integrators to use it for more complex solutions. So maybe a system integrator, but maybe also obviously clients with a lot of in-house IT to basically use the platform to address more complex solution and basically expand from maybe slightly simpler web store experience. Thank you for your attendance. Thank you.